So the expression of disease, may I suggest, is the body trying to preserve itself. We might even say that disease is an illusion. The disease in of itself is not the condition that we need to address, but the symptom of what is being expressed from an overacidic lifestyle and diet. So the body does some wonderful things to help protect ourselves from our own acidic lifestyle and dietary choices. It will retain water. Now, why would the body retain water? The body would retain water in order to protect the tissues, protect the organs that sustain life. So the body retains water to neutralize excess toxins or body acids. As I mentioned earlier, the body retains fat as a buffer of excess organs, of excess acidity in order to protect the internal organs of the body that sustain life. The body will create cholesterol, will use fats, and release those fats to bind acid too as well, to crystallize them so they don't permeate the cell wall and damage the cell. Also, if acids are damaging the tissue from within to prevent from internal bleeding, there'll be premature clotting to prevent acid damage of the tissues and also to arrest internal bleeding. The body will also leach minerals such as calcium and magnesium from the bones or the muscles to neutralize acidity, which can lead to stones, but the stone is not the problem, it's the symptom of acid that's being produced from an over-acid lifestyle and diet. Tumors are also problematic, but once again, a very high level of expression of damage to the tissues where the body's trying to protect itself so that one acid cell doesn't affect another healthy cell and cause it to break down. It's what I call the rotten apple effect, where you would take a rotten apple and put it in a bushel of apples, and of course the acids from that one apple would permeate the other apples, spoiling the whole bushel of apples. Well, the body protects itself from that happening, where one cell is fermenting or breaking down. Its waste products or acids will spoil another cell, and of course to protect that domino effect from continuing, or to protect the healthy tissue, the body will encapsulate, form a clot or a tumor to encapsulate those fermenting or acidic cells. The body will also remove acids out through the skin if they're not properly being removed through urination, defecation, or respiration. When this happens, strong acids can burn the skin, causing all sorts of blemishes and imperfections to the skin. The body does this all in an effort to maintain its delicate pH balance of the internal fluids at 7.365. So how important is drinking alkaline water? Dr. Atkins said this, and I quote, "The cells and fluids in most people's bodies are overly acidic. This can cause a lot of health problems. It prevents your body from neutralizing and disposing of harmful, poisonous toxins and leaves you more susceptible to the cell-damaging free radical oxidation or fermentation that leads to cancerous conditions and other diseases." And I have said for many years, in reality, there is only one sickness and there's only one disease, and that is the overacidification of the blood and tissues due to an inverted way of living, eating, and thinking. And if there's only one sickness and one disease, then there's possibly then only one health. And I believe that one health is maintaining the alkaline design of the internal fluids, which then in turn maintains the health of your cells, which make up your organs and your tissues. So let me ask you this question. What kind of water do you drink now? Do you drink bottled water? Do you drink tap water? Do you drink filtered ionized water from a home system, like reverse osmosis water? Do you drink filtered water from a third party? I already had that down there, the reverse osmosis or the Brita water system. So what kind of water do you drink? And what is the pH of the type of water that you're drinking? One of the chapters in one of my books called The pH Miracle, I have that chapter on water. I actually have tested hundreds of different waters, and I find that most water, if not all water that I've tested, has a pH of 7 or less. Our tap water, because they chlorinate it, which is actually an alkalizing compound, but it's also very difficult to get out of the body, and it's not natural to the body, has a pH just slightly over 7. So does the type of water you drink, does the pH, is it 6 or 7 or 8 or greater than 9? So over the last 20 plus years, I have determined that there's 4 attributes of a healthy drinking water. The first attribute, which I'm sure you'd all agree with, that the water has to be clean and it has to be pure. It has to be free of heavy metals. It has to be free of toxic chemicals. It has to be free of pharmaceuticals. It has to be clean. It has to be free of ionizing radiation from nuclear fallout. This is critical. The second attribute of a healthy water, I believe it has to be alkaline. Why? Because the human body is alkaline by design. All of its functions are acidic. Breathing, thinking, eating, all produce acids. Body, when it's born, it's alkaline by its design. We need to keep it that way if we want to keep it healthy and strong. The third attribute is the water has to be energized. It must carry an energy. Water is a catalyst that can deliver energy to the body. And of course, this energy can be measured using a meter, and it's measured in had a senior moment here. Yeah, the water. I started thinking about what I was talking about. Anyway, the water has to be energized, and that water carries an electrical negative charge, and it can be measured in millivolts. It should carry a negative charge versus a positive charge. So we measure the water, and also the water should be molecularly unclustered. Traditionally, tap water is a clustered water, multiply clustered. We should have an unclustered water somewhere around 3 to 5 molecules. So these are the 4 attributes of healthy water. So the world's healthiest waters, nature's answer. Trinity is a water from Idaho. It's a well water. They have a well that goes down over 2 miles, and the water that they extract there has a pH of approximately 9.5, so it has natural alkalizing salts of potassium and sodium bicarbonate. Lourdes has had, for centuries, been talked about, has healing powers. The pH of Lourdes is in the 7s. Hunsa water is also in the 7s. Destiny water, which is Hawaiian water, pulled from 3,000 feet below the ocean surface. It's a clean, pure water, naturally alkaline at 7.5, and miracle water, of course, can have a pH anywhere, because it's an ionized water, can have a pH anywhere from a 1 pH clear up to a 12 pH or a 13 pH. So these waters, particularly the alkaline waters, have shown to make a significant difference in people's health. And I've been studying this for many, many years. And as I increase the hydration of these alkaline fluids, and we start perfusing the tissues with high pH waters ranging anywhere from a minimum of 9.5 up to 12.5, we see physiological changes that take place in the tissues in a positive way. So the characteristic of these waters that have been healing for many centuries have a characteristic that they're all alkaline. And they have beneficial alkaline minerals such as sodium bicarbonate or potassium or magnesium. They also carry a strong electrically negative charge that can be measured by using an ORP meter. They range anywhere from negative 50 millivolts clear up to a negative 750 millivolts. And of course, if you're taking, let's say, just tap water and want to structure that water into an alkaline state, these specific ionizing machines can help to do that by restructuring the water, increasing its electrical activity, and increasing its pH too as well, right from your tap. So how effective is this type of water? Well, let me quote Dr. Horowitz. International studies show that populations with little or no history of illness, such as cancer, drink higher pH alkaline waters. After all potential risk factors were considered and factored out, it became evident that they had been drinking waters with a pH of 9 to 10, close quote. So I've been talking about ionization, and many of you are probably thinking, well, what is ionization, or what is an ion? An ion is a charged particle. That particle can be either negatively charged or positively charged. For example, hydrogen carries a positive charge, where hydroxyl ions, which is OH minus, carries a negative charge. A water ionizer is a water technology that electrically activates or charges the minerals or ions in the water. This process alters the water in two ways. First, it raises or it lowers the pH. Second, it alters the electrical properties by either increasing electrical activity in the forms of a saturation of electrons, or it decreases electrical activity by increasing the saturation of protons in the water. It also, through this ionization process, the voltage will break up the natural microclustering. So the water, as it breaks down, will be smaller in its structure. So rather than, let's say, having 20 molecules per cluster, you would have maybe 3 to 5 molecules per cluster. Well, what does that do when we break down these larger clusters of water? One, it increases the surface area, and two, by increasing surface area, it increases surface charge. And this is how the pH then goes up, and also the electrical activity of the water goes up. Because as we break down these large clusters of water molecules into smaller and smaller clusters, even down to the monomolecular state, which would be one molecule, we're increasing surface area, which also increases surface charge of the water.